please give us your name?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Before his name became infamous, Jeffrey Epstein was a total financial mystery. Here was a guy who never graduated from college and got fired from his first real job teaching, yet somehow ended up with an empire worth over $500 million. His only publicly known client for years was a secretive billionaire who gave him complete control over his entire fortune. So, was Epstein just a Wall Street genius? Or was his entire business just an incredibly elaborate cover story? The truth of how Jeffrey Epstein really made his money is way more disturbing than you probably think. The Fired Teacher and the Wall Street Express. Jeffrey Epstein's origin story sounds like something out of a strange novel. Born in Brooklyn, he was a gifted math student by all accounts. But he was also a college dropout, leaving 2 different universities without ever getting a degree. He managed to land a job teaching math and physics at the Dalton School in Manhattan, a top-tier private school for the kids of New York's elite. But even this respectable chapter of his life ended badly. He was let go after just 2 years for reasons that are still murky, with reports mentioning performance issues and inappropriate conduct. So, how does a fired teacher with no college degree just walk into a job on Wall Street? This is the first huge question mark in the Epstein story. The common version is that while at Dalton, he tutored the son of Alan Ace Greenberg, the CEO of the powerful investment bank Bear Stearns. Greenberg was supposedly so impressed by Epstein's smarts and ambition that he hired him in 1976. At Bear Stearns, Epstein's rise was incredibly fast. In a cutthroat environment, he thrived. People said he was aggressive, charming, and had a weird knack for navigating the complicated world of options trading. He blew past the traditional steps on the corporate ladder, and by 1980, he was made a limited partner in the firm, a huge accomplishment for someone with his background. The billionaire and the blank check. Every massive fortune has a turning point, a single relationship that changes everything. For Jeffrey Epstein, that person was Les Wexner. Wexner, the founder of L Brands, the parent company of giants like Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works, was a famously private Midwestern billionaire. They met in the late 1980s, and Wexner was totally captivated. He later said Epstein had excellent judgment and unusually high standards. What happened next is maybe the strangest part of Epstein's entire financial story. Wexner didn't just hire Epstein as an advisor. He basically handed over the keys to his financial kingdom. In a move that's almost unheard of for a billionaire CEO, Wexner gave Epstein full power of attorney over his personal fortune. Think about what that actually means. Epstein could sign checks with Wexner's name. He could buy and sell property. He could hire and fire staff. He could make legally binding decisions over a multi-billion-dollar fortune, all without needing Wexner's final approval. People close to Wexner were reportedly baffled by the whole thing, wondering why a respected CEO would give that much power to a college dropout with a questionable resume. Through this one arrangement, Epstein's wealth exploded. He wasn't just managing money, he was practically running Wexner's life. He oversaw real estate deals, the building of a super yacht, and even served on the board of the Wexner Foundation. In exchange, he was paid millions upon millions in fees. Some estimates suggest he earned over $200 million from his work for Wexner alone. This relationship also got him physical assets. Most famously, he acquired Wexner's massive Manhattan townhouse, the same mansion that would become the center of his sex trafficking operations. The details of that sale are still controversial, as he appeared to have gotten it for a fraction of its market value. The Wizard of an Invisible Firm. In 1988, with Wexner's money and influence behind him, Epstein founded J. Epstein and Company. His pitch was exclusive and bold. He claimed he only managed money for clients worth over $1 billion. It created this aura of prestige and secrecy. The problem? Besides Wexner, no other billionaire clients from that era have ever been credibly identified. The whole operation was a black box. There were no public filings, no client lists, no investment strategies you could point to. The firm was a ghost. In 1996, Epstein rebranded it as the Financial Trust Company and moved it to the U.S. Virgin Islands. This was a strategic move to take advantage of the island's huge tax breaks. His company, Southern Trust, received millions in these tax benefits. Incentives the U.S. Virgin Islands government later sued his estate over, claiming they were obtained fraudulently to help fund his criminal enterprise. While Wexner was his main source of income for years, another name eventually surfaced that gave him another flood of cash. Leon Black, the billionaire co-founder of the private equity firm Apollo Global Management. Starting in 2012, Black began paying Epstein huge sums for advice and services. A Senate Finance Committee investigation found that Black paid Epstein at least $158 million between 2012 and 2017. A financial house of cards? With so few confirmed clients and such a secretive operation, the big question has always been, was his financial business just a front? The numbers on their own don't seem to neatly add up to a $500 million fortune. This has fueled widespread speculation that his financial firm was just a cover for his real business, blackmail and sex trafficking. While this is a theory, the infrastructure he built certainly raised alarms. Major banks like J.P. Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank have since paid massive settlements because of their relationships with him. J.P. Morgan paid $290 million to settle a lawsuit brought by Epstein's victims, who argued the bank knew about and ignored clear signs of his sex trafficking ring. Deutsche Bank settled a similar suit for $75 million. The lawsuits from victims alleged that these banks made his crimes possible by letting him withdraw huge amounts of cash, the lifeblood of a trafficking network, while turning a blind eye to obvious red flags in his accounts. Then there are the weird investments. Just 2 days before his death, Epstein signed a new will that moved all his assets into something called the 1953 Trust, which kept the names of the people inheriting his money hidden. It was recently revealed that one of the largest remaining assets in that trust is a $40 million investment he made in Valar Ventures, a venture capital firm co-founded by tech billionaire Peter Thiel. That investment is now estimated to be worth over $170 million. This is the puzzle of Jeffrey Epstein's money. On paper, you have the story of a man who used his charm to win the trust of one incredibly rich client, then leveraged that into other high-paying advisory roles. It's a story of a money manager who served the super-rich with aggressive tax strategies. But just below the surface is a much darker possibility, that the finance company was never the real business. A theory that the fees from Wexner and Black were just the seed money for a much bigger, more evil operation. That the real service he provided his powerful friends had nothing to do with their money and everything to do with their darkest secrets, all while he gathered information that could be used as leverage. So how did Jeffrey Epstein really make his money? The documented facts point to two main sources: the massive fees he earned from Les Wexner over 2 decades, and the staggering $158 million he was paid by Leon Black for consulting. That is the official answer. But it feels incomplete. It doesn't fully explain the $500 million empire, the intense secrecy, or why powerful institutions looked the other way for so long. The story of Epstein's wealth shows how power, access, and secrecy can create a fortune that no one can fully account for. Was he a financial wizard, a gifted con artist, or something far worse? The most chilling reality is that he might have been all three at once, using a legitimate-looking business as the perfect cover for unimaginable crimes. If you found this investigation compelling, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden worlds of wealth and power. Thanks for watching.